So, hello and welcome to our demo today of Boomband, presented by People Science. So, a while back, I think it was a few months ago in San Diego, our team had the privilege of meeting Jeff Taylor at the Recruiting Innovation Summit. And we quickly met Jeff, realized he was the founder of Monster, and learned a little bit more about him. And last month on our last webinar, Talent Acquisition 2026, the trends that redefine hiring, Jeff was kind enough to join us. And if you don't know Jeff Taylor, I'll make a brief introduction and he can introduce his team. But like I mentioned, he is the founder and CEO of Boomband, also founded and created Monster. He really is a serial entrepreneur and has helped companies redefine the online job search and transformed how millions of people are looking for work. Today, he's going back to his roots of Monster and being innovative and bringing back some bold innovation to networking and career growth. So we are going to learn a little bit about Boomband today and his team with Jeff. That I will hand it over to you, Jeff.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. So just to introduce my team that's here, you basically have Maya, who runs sales. You have Chip, that's our Chief Growth Officer. And you have Dee, who runs product. And my team is here to both support me, but also to hear the feedback from all of you. So I hope that the idea is that this is going to be interactive. And so I can see our team. I can't see others. Do we have others that are here right now?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes, and they
So
do have a feature where you can put in a question or chat, and we'll be monitoring those. So if anyone has feedback or questions, pop them in there, and we'll keep an eye and get them answered.
okay, great. So Dee, if you don't mind, let's jump right in, and we'll kind of take a look at the presentation. And what I'm hoping is that I have a chance to introduce our new company, which is called Boomband, and that we talk a little bit about some of the challenges that are happening in the marketplace right now. Love for you guys to chime in if you're agreeing with some of the same challenges. I want you to feel free to stop me at any time, and we'll answer questions. I don't think we have to even be very formal about it. It's a size group that I think is really accessible. And my background, I founded Monster in December of 1993. It was the 454th.com. And so I've had a chance to both put the first job posting and the first resume on the World Wide Web. I've had a chance to basically experience a market shift from the traditional help wanted section in the newspaper to online. It's been 30 years. It's been an incredible journey, and ChatGPT came out in 2022. I was a user in early 2023 and realized that I thought for the first time that the technology might be advancing fast enough that I could turn the sweatshirt inside out. And that's our company, and we're very close now to launching. We just put 6 billboards up in the Boston area. My headquarters is in Rhode Island. Everyone else on this call is in Boston, and we're basically a Boston company. And we're going to be launching different parts of our company over the course of January and February. So Boomband comes from the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And at the end of that book, it says, don't go to the waiting place, go where the boom bands are playing. And I wanted to have some fun and bring some joy back into our space. And I always love this name. Turns out boom in the top 8 languages is just spelled BOOM. And it's a energetic, explosive moment. And so it has some characteristics similar to Monster in that it's not just apples to apples, a career site or a job site. It's actually a bigger idea. And then I like band because it's like band of brothers or band of sisters, the idea of banding together. And that's where our tagline comes from, let's band together. So what we're building is a brand new AI talent platform. And let's jump in, and I'll share a little bit of history, and then we'll actually show you the product. So as I stated, Started out Monster around 94. We incorporated, we got the patents for the buyer seller marketplace for resumes behind a paywall. I think what's been interesting is to watch the HR stack evolve. When I started out, I had the idea that we could create a buyer seller marketplace that could be a global marketplace where job seekers would come and where employers would come. And the reality is, over the last 20 years, all the power went back into the HR stack in the companies. And a lot of the transaction with the job seekers got detached. So they were just sending their resume in and not really connected to the process. And I think for that and a bunch of other reasons, we're in a challenging situation right now. So why don't we jump in and talk about some of those challenges? And the first thing I wanted to just share is like just having higher supply and lower demand. It's obvious with the unemployment rate where it is at 4.5, 4.6%. Who knows exactly where it is, but you've got a couple of million people out of work that I think at full employment we're at about 3.4, 3.5% from my perspective. So you've got a lot of challenge out there, and that overlay of just lots and lots more people looking for jobs for a generation, almost two generations, you haven't had very many months where there weren't enough jobs to go around. And so this is a very challenging market. It's counterintuitive that we would launch a kind of life work careers brand in this market. But I think it's also a great time where over half of the working population would look for a job given the opportunity. There's a lot of quiet staying happening right now where people aren't loving their jobs. And so I think that's the first and most dynamic thing. I think the second thing is that the tools are tired. And you can look at it from an applicant tracking perspective, getting overwhelmed. But the resume in its current format's been around for 125 years. I think it really struggles. It's a summary. AI wants more detail. And what's happening is the job posting isn't delivering that detail either. And what we're also seeing is that with some of the early AI disruption, that there's companies where you can apply to 500 jobs while you sleep. And that is causing a lot of problems and a lot of crampiness in the applicant tracking systems. And so the last thing from a problem perspective, I'm going to pause for a second, is that I think Gen Zs generally aren't as enamored with LinkedIn as some of the older generations, and I think it's very typical where MySpace gave way to Facebook, and now Facebook is kind of like your parents' social network, and LinkedIn is falling into that same category. And so we're looking at multi generations trying to navigate in this difficult marketplace. Just pause for a second. Does this ring true for you guys? What are reactions?
I definitely agree with the need to tailor more towards the different generations and the technology, even like attention span and looking at job postings and how much time does it take. So I think something like Boomband is definitely needed.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go on and we'll talk a little bit about our product. And what I'm going to do is kind of give you a base overview. And this kind of gives you a view of our whole product. At the center, we have an arena. It's a visual arena. And the idea is if people are going to present themselves in this arena, first for the job seekers, we call them players. We felt like they needed a much more exciting, dynamic, whole person document to be able to present themselves in the arena. And that's basically what you see with our dossier. And Dee's going to help me and show a couple of examples of even our team on this call and how we're presenting ourselves. And a big challenge here is your resume is about 85% historical, your track record, only about 15% current, with the weighting is the same all the way across your experiences. our thinking is that we need to get whatever sort of marketing document is going to be relevant to our seeker players is to be much more about who you are today and where you want to go in the future. And so we're going to show you some pieces of that. And then on the company side, we think a job posting is sort of at end of life. Any company that's growing right now is in a position where you've got 1,000 people in the queue. And I sometimes talk about it as camels and giraffes. Doesn't seem to upset anybody. You're looking for giraffes, but everyone in line is a camel. And so the quality isn't there. And there's so many people that the frustration of just being overwhelmed in the lower quality. And so we see our arena as being a solution. And one of the things that we're introducing is the idea of putting a signal into the arenas. It's sometimes called like quiet hiring, where you're putting a job into the arena and then we're matching in the background people that are the best match with the idea that you're actually immediately getting to a short list. What you're really creating is an opportunity where you're doing micro targeting and direct sourcing right into the arena. And so I'll get questions on either side, but let's jump in. So this is just, we use a Google stack and we use Gemini. It's turned out that these are very good components of our software. We use Superbase, where we are really set up to be able to take advantage of the AI agentic systems at all different levels. And every place where you see this light purple color is where we're using AI. But it is easily explainable and it's transparent. And those are some of the core tenets that we worked on when we built this system. The next slide just starts to give you a sense of how we put our company together. And one of the theories that I had was that could we map all the employees that work at all the companies in the United States? And could we get to the backgrounds of all those people and collect them and put them in our database? And so what we did was partner with 10 data companies. It's about 2.5 billion lines of records of data. And then what we've done is we've combined career data and web data and social data and consumer data. And the idea is that we're pulling that all together and we're consolidating that into a picture of what someone's like with that data. And then we're painting that picture both as a North Star technically and also as a like a PDF of a dossier for each person. And we call that an unclaimed dossier. I'll show you more of that in a minute. We're also doing that same thing for companies. We have about 18 million companies. We've ingested all the data about the company, whether it's their current openings, historical job openings. We're looking at the employee graph of the companies, looking at the company's employer brand, and building a dossier for the companies as well. Now, this kind of a profile on a LinkedIn is close to $100,000 a year, and that's going to be part of our simple subscription at Boomband. So let's jump in. Once we have all that data, the idea is that we'll create invitations, and what we're doing is we're with the assembled data. We're using that either through our advertising. I think I mentioned that we've got 6 billboards in Boston right now. We're just launching in the Boston and New England area. So we'll attract people through our marketing. Because we have all the data, we'll also start to market directly to the players in the New England market. And what we're doing is then inviting you in where you can actually use our agentic agent, not to apply for jobs. People generally don't like that, but to help you build your profile. And so you'll begin and we'll have your base data, which you'll certify, and then we'll capture frontier data. And what I mean by that is stuff about your passions and interests, stuff about your side hustles, maybe non-traditional work if you were a stay-at-home parent or if you were a caregiver. And what our idea is to capture the skills and abilities associated with all these frontier areas, and with the idea that that will be a complement to your commercial experience, and then we'll score that in our system. We teach you about it being public or private. We'll help you build a couple reels about your passions and interests, but also about what you like to do on the weekend. We'll start to get some culture work as part of this dossier. Let's go on. So on the left, and maybe we can zoom in on it, is an unclaimed dossier. And so we're building these for 177 million people in the United States. It's about 8.5 million in New England. And you can see in the left where it says me in a nutshell, we're putting together a summary. Typically, this is consolidated from 2 or 3 places where we have a summary of your experience. We have the team you play for, which is your current role. We do experience highlights, not all of your past experience, and you can come in and adjust this. We capture all of your skills and we capture your knowledge, what university you went to, any courses or certifications you have. And this is also an invitation to do your boom moments, to create these reels I was talking about, and to start to articulate your passions and interests. Once that's claimed, you see the next slide. And what that's doing now is it's creating an opportunity for us to build out your Boomband dossier. Some of you may have seen I just posted mine on LinkedIn yesterday, but the idea here is that it has a central hub, and in this hub is a synthesis, sort of a magazine cover of everything about you. So it has an introduction, it has an overview of your passions, talks about your current positions, talks about your education. But then we have a brand new paradigm here where it has a north, south, east, and west. So if you go west, you see your about section, and that has a description of you. It has a 3-minute video of you, kind of a 3-minute bio. And it also has boom moments, which are really important moments in your life. And then if you go to the next area, I got to see how this is organized. So this is your work area. So what we're defining here is how you work, and we're now describing your positions. We're actually capturing projects that you're working on. We have a work journal where you can journal, you can put together supporting materials. And so this will work primarily like an anchor, that like a resume, but with a lot more detail. The next area is actually your what we call the Power Lab. And the idea here is we're capturing all of your skills that come from your work area, but also come from your life work area, come from your boom moments. And then here we synthesize all those skills and then we package those with data. We're really excited about this because there really isn't anything like this. As a recruiter, you're sort of expected to pull out all this information. So we're starting to synthesize and make this available for you. And then the last area is this idea of your life work. And this is something that when you talk to a player, an applicant about going to an interview, they never have actually enough time to share actually what they're like. And that they like to travel with their mom and they've traveled into 20 countries, or they like to play tennis, or they like to paint. And what are some of the characteristics and learnings from focusing on those areas that could contribute to a new commercial job that you're working on? Or who could you partner with that might also be interested in the same passions as you? And so one of the things we talk about with this profile, with this dossier, is you come for the tools. It's a better way to look at resumes. We're going to show you it's a better way to look at jobs. But stay for the network. Stay for the ability to meet other people.
Jeff,
So
you want to,
yeah, let's
you want me
jump
to
in.
show, you want me to show yours?
Sure. Oh God. All right, so we're now this is real live software. I built my dossier last weekend, and so you can see in my central hub, you can see my intro, you can see my description of Boomband, you can see in my experience highlights that I highlighted that I worked at Bridgewater for Ray Dalio, and I highlighted that I was the founder and GM CEO of Monster. Actually, it looks to me like it's just picking up my job that I had right before that. But right there, you can see the founder and CEO Monster. So I'm selecting things that I want in my experience highlights here on my sort of magazine cover. you also can look if you go up to the work area. Can you just show how the navigation actually works? Like from the hub, just go hit each of the areas quickly. So this is
Yep.
my work area. If you go down, you go to my life work, and you can see some of the cool stuff I do. And then if you go back to the hub, you can go over and you can go to my about, and you can see all of my learning experiences and a description of me. I'm a founder of 5 human startups that are age range from 12 to 37. And if you go the other way, then you see the Power Lab, and you see that synthesis there first. And then this is all of my skills. And so you can see all the different skill areas I have and how they're described. Um, let me pause for a second, see if anyone has questions or observations. I don't know how talkative this group is. So
And just we have Maya here as
yeah,
well. So
yeah.
we can see Maya's
Maya, do you
dossier.
want to talk about yours?
Oh, I could do that. It's not as cool as Jeff's. Um, but it
I
is
disagree.
it is a combination of who I am as a person. So same thing. I have my current role, director of sales at Boomband. I also model, so that's also one of my current roles. It's an overview of my work, then the things that I care about and focus on daily. So boxing, my partner, my little sister, and then the north, south, east, west. We're in you can go back to the work if you want. We're in the north, so that's how we're well, all of this is reimagining the resume, but these are more details about the work that I've done before, um, as well as the organizations that I've been with. And if you go back down to the main page, then you can see the things that I focus on in my life. So tattoos, big focus. Going to the gym, poetry, my partner, my mom, my sister. It's very, very relational. And it's interesting because you can see the difference between Jeff and I. He's also relational, but it's the way that he filled his out. It's a little bit more focused on tasks and production. And mine is like activities. I don't know. Like I said, Jeff, you're just cooler than me. Uh,
I
same.
think you just said that I was like cold.
Yeah, Jeff actually has no feelings. Jeff, Jeff isn't so deeply untrue. Jeff is so personable. Um, these are my boom moments. I don't know. The thing that I really like about this is it does encapsulate who I am holistically, and then all of the different skills get put into the far right side of the screen, which is the skill print, and then that's what gets matched against the arena. So it's really cool to have not just, oh, I've been a sales leader for over a decade, but also I know a lot about project management and body language and empathy and things like that.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for sharing that, Maya.
Thank you for
What
putting me on the
I'm
spot. Yep.
That's good. Dee, what do you say we do a live demo? And so now that you've built your dossier, then the question is, what do you do with it? And our idea is that this is your marketing home base. You'll have a QR code where you can actually drive people to this. And our idea is that you could meet mentors, that you could meet your tribe, that you could meet companies that are really interested in you. And then from a scout side, we're going to take you in and show you how you use the arena. But Dee, why don't you actually do the tour?
Talk about being put on the spot.
Yeah.
So, as Jeff mentioned, we are live in our demo environment, which we are aggressively working on Boomband right now. So, a few functions are not quite working right. But basically, to start out using the arena, you can prompt it. So, you can put in a phrase or keywords for folks that you're looking for. I'm going to start with players. And I'm asking the arena, show me software engineers in Boston with Python skills. And then you can say search, or we like to say match. And the arena is going to get to work looking for players both claimed and unclaimed, that match that request. And so you could imagine that that could get more detailed over time. The thing that's not working for us quite right now is that you can actually put your job signal in the center to match to people. So there's a few different ways you can use the arena to match to folks. So you can see here that we're seeing the top 350 matches to the prompt that I put in. You can see that the best matches are closest, though I would say all of these matches are good. They're in play. It's just that the closest are we're currently seeing as the best match. You can see the cards on the left-hand side, which are representative of the circles that you see. And what we're hearing about this display is people kind of love that it's a little bit anonymous, right? I'm not necessarily seeing faces right away. I'm kind of getting a sense of what this pool of matched players looks like without kind of making any judgments about who they might be or what they look like, etc. And then the arena gives me the opportunity to go deep, as you saw, because we can get right to those dossiers that we were looking at before. What you're going to see as we move through is unclaimed folks. So we are still working on what those dossier displays look like. We're still working on cleaning our data and making the best presentation there as we possibly can. Before I move into actually looking at folks, you can also use filters in the arena to edit the match. And what's interesting is there's a whole nother version of this thing that I'm working on in a different development environment. So bear with me as I kind of reorient because we keep revving and making improvements. But I mean, you can use things like location filtering. So I can look at folks that are interested in working in on-site hybrid or remote. I can expand where those folks are, etc. So I can change those filters as I want to. I can modify the experience. So I can say focus on the most current title only or look back, right? So I can kind of keep adjusting that match. And then I can do things like look at skills and I can add skills or take skills away, etc. And then I can look at like how often they're using that skill. The other cool thing about the arena is it has different views. So this is the main arena view, but you can also explore our stack rank view. So you can kind of see different ways that you can visualize your player field. And in a more recent version of the arena, you can actually start to understand things by color. So I can understand which industry folks work in. So these are software engineers. Are they software engineers in like in tech? Are they software engineers that are actually in healthcare? Right? Like where are these folks working? And then I can also understand where they are from a geography perspective. And you can't see their actual address, of course, because we want to pay attention to privacy, etc. But you can see that they are real people that live within range of a position if that's important to you. And that can be important whether they have to commute to work or whether they're like hybrid, etc. And they may just have to get to corporate once in a while. So we understand geography as well.
Also for fraudulent applicants.
Yes, so the
The
fact that we
people that say they live in
understand.
your area, for example, but they actually live in a third world country or whatever. So,
Yep. And then I can see into their card. So this is going to give me a sense of like what does Mario look like? And a little bit of an AI summary to get to understand if that's someone I want to look at. So let's go see. It's going to make me a little nervous. So let's go look at two. And again, this unclaimed dossier we are currently working on. But you can see that two is a software engineer. You can see a summary about two. You can see where two's worked previously. You can also understand two's education and the skills that we've assimilated so far on what two can do. And I can go back to the arena from here. So that's, you can imagine using player matching for sourcing, right? So let me actually find folks that I think are interesting. I think it's also really cool on the networking side So if you're a player and you want to understand how you compare to others, or you want the chance to network with folks that have a skill that you don't have, or you want to try to network one level up, right? So player to player matching, we believe is super compelling, whether you're sourcing or you're a player looking to improve or connect. Now, the other thing we can do is actually look for jobs. So I'm going to reset the arena, and now I'm going to say jobs, and I'm going to put in the same spec. So software engineering in Boston and search. Now you'll see that the arena will bring up jobs. You can see it's different because these are squares instead of circles, right? And you can see over here that we do have logos to help you understand which company the positions are at. But we don't put those in the arena because we want to reserve the space for actually showing you where the best matches are. And you can use filters in the same exact way, and then understand how well you can match. The other thing that you can do in the arena is comparisons. And again, you can do this on either side. So I can come over to this list here and I can flag positions that I might want to compare. I could have done the same with players. So now I can look at those bookmarked options, and I can go into comparison mode, and I can see how those compare, differences, how I might match, etc. And then I could also check them. Maybe I want to save those and I want to express interest in them later. And then again, you could flip that thinking to player side. I think these three players look awesome. I might want to try to reach out to message them or campaign to them later. So you can use these comparison views and selection views to actually do all other actions on Boomband as well. I'm gonna bounce back out of that. Jeff, what else should we cover?
I mean, I think that's a good start. I think maybe we pop over to the scout side and just show the point of view of being a recruiter, being a scout,
Yeah, so
and then open it up for questions.
we're not quite ready to demo that functionality yet, though we're getting close, so we're gonna go back to the deck for that.
Right.
And then just give me a sec, because I just want to make sure that I have that queued up. So hang on 1 second. All of these beautiful dossier examples. Here we go.
So the idea here is everything in our system is a mirror. So as a company, we've signed up. We're working with about 20 development partners in the Boston area right now. Many of them have already signed. A few others are signing over the next week. We hope to be at about 30 companies by about the 20th or 25th of January, where we're going to do our first kind of development partner launch. The idea here is for the companies that they're coming in through their own channel into the arena. And so what you see here is that we've created a unclaimed dossier for every company as well. So been able to capture the general information about the company, their past jobs, their current jobs, and all the employees that work at that company. And so what we're doing is inviting companies in to basically adopt their records, claim their company, and then go through a process where you're actually making sure that you've got the right information. And then you want to sync your jobs and players. You want to decide what's going to be public in your dossier. And then we have a opportunity where there's a selection of solutions and apps in a marketplace where, for example, you can do background checks with us. There's a potential to do coding tests, ultimately to do video interviewing, and you can bring your own vendors into here, or you can use our selected vendors. And so what happens when you get on the other side of this, working through with our agent, is that you end up now with a claim dossier. And so that claim dossier actually is really exciting, and now you get to put your print on it, right? So you bring in your feeds, you bring in your benefits, And you can see on the left, we got something that looks very credible, but on the right, you're actually truly building out a great landing page for everyone who's in the arena to be able to come and review and understand the jobs you offer, understand your team and who they might work for. The next slides here are, there's really three components of our product. The first component is the seeker players. The second component is the companies with their dossiers. The third component is building out a much more interesting, what we call job signal. And what we mean by that is you're not going to post a job out in the general market, but you're going to build a signal inside our system. We use a technology which is called the embeddings. And so we take a job and we take everything that we can find about that job. I was just at a conference and the person on stage said, "Oh, everybody knows what people do in your jobs. Make the job postings much smaller." And our view is go the opposite direction. You don't have to present everything, but we want as much information as a signal for that job. And then what we do is synthesize that, create embeddings out of all those details. And then we match all those details against the embeddings of individual players' backgrounds. And that's how we get the matches. The other thing we're doing is, because we're actually sourcing almost like quiet hiring into the marketplace, the idea is you're only going to reach a few very qualified people. So do you want to invest the time to look at what's the career trajectory for this role? Do you want to be able to introduce the idea of the people that will work on your team? Do you want to have a video from the hiring manager? So we're inviting companies to invest more in their job signal. All right, how does our model work? So what we do is we do a subscription model, and that includes a handful of pings, 50 or 100 or 250 in the system. And the idea here is that you can do outreach using our system. We'll do the email sequence campaign for you to reach out to a named person. So if you want to reach out to Maya or to Jeff or to Dee, you can do that directly in our system, and those are called pings. The thing we've discovered that's really exciting is that we can do this work for you as a company, and we're calling them slates. And the idea here is that you would find a person that matches really what you see as an ideal person in the arena. We create a lookalike campaign with that person's embeddings, and then we go out and look for 50, 100, 150, maybe even 200 people we're talking to, and try to deliver back to you 6 or 8 or 10 people that not only are qualified, but also are expressing interest in the role. So we're trying to help and cut through a bunch of noise to get to quality and to get you moving forward with your hiring process. We also offer campaigns where if you want to go reach the top 250 full stack developers in Boston, we can build an advertising campaign that might include video advertising, where you would have your hiring manager put together a video saying, this is what this opportunity is about. And we would present that in the desktop, what we call the studio, of those 250 top full stack developers. So I think that's probably enough. With that, maybe I pause, slow down. I'd love to get some reactions to the idea of our dossier. Lindsay and Jessica, you guys haven't even seen the actual dossier, so like that's cool. And then get some reactions to the arena and the way we're thinking about things.
I had a question really quick. For the dossiers that are claimed and unclaimed, does the system prioritize them when they're pulled into the arena based off of that, or is it just based off of best match? Just because I would think maybe there's more information available for a claimed dossier as an unclaimed. So I was just curious,
Yeah.
does it just pull in everyone that's qualified, or are they
Yeah.
prioritized over those that are
So,
claimed?
so I think this is a grand experiment, right? And so, because this never existed before, this is the
Sure.
first time that we're doing this or having any, like this system has everybody in it. And so you're putting a signal in the center. We're finding the most qualified people. We have this idea of putting a little halo around the people in the arena that actually have a claim profile. And
Mm.
so that you might see that the person that's the number 5 match has a little halo around them, which means that they're going to have a lot more information and they're going to have that frontier data I was talking about. You're going to be able to go and explore their dossier. And then you
Mhm.
see way out in the ring, around number 200, there's another one, right? And I think what that's going to do initially is if you invest the time and market to this, build your dossier and spend the time, that someone at the 200th match, if I was in the arena, I'd go look at that person, right, to see, because you see someone who's putting the effort in.
Mhm.
But the best matches will be the closest to your job in the arena.
Got it. Thank you for helping me understand that. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And Jeff, did you say that this data can be integrated with an applicant tracking system, or how would that
Yeah,
work?
so this is another huge question, right? And so, what does an applicant tracking system do? So, first of all, it's overwhelmed. It's got thousands of candidates in it right now, and the quality is questionable. And you've got a big applicant database sitting in your company. Somebody described this as a 2-day-old pizza box. There's pizza in there, but you're not going to eat it. And so what we've been talking to the companies about is maybe at the beginning, we won't integrate. We'll offer Boomband as an independent product and come play the game. And what we want is recruiters to be sitting there looking at their applicant tracking system and say, I just want to go to Boomband. And I think what we're going to end up with is we've talked to the integrators about the idea of actually putting stuff into the applicant tracking system. Maybe there's a way that we could skip a couple steps because you've got 6 people that have expressed interest in the slate. It doesn't really make sense to put them through the front door with the 1,000 people that applied this week. And so we're working with our development partners to really refine how we're going to work with that. Some of the bigger companies, it's like they have to be registered in the ATS, and we'll do that.
I could see how that could be somewhat of a challenge because these dossiers have so much more information than an applicant tracking system is set up to hold. So for me, I'm thinking, ooh, how does that even work? Because I
Right.
feel like so much of the benefit is that you're getting so much more than the resume, right? You're
Yeah.
getting this bigger insight, bigger deep dive, into the person, not just the employee. And what ATS is really going to be able to hold all of that great
Right.
information at this stage of where we are in recruiting.
Mhm.
Well, and
Exactly.
right now, everyone is airbrushing their resume or
Oh yeah.
whitewashing or white fonting their resume. So all the resumes sort of look the same. And so now all of a sudden something comes in. It's like, okay, I didn't realize that you like boxing, or that you like to build stone walls on the weekend, and that's actually a really creative thing that has strategic vision to it, and it has like achieving your goals and things that are really important to this job that are just very different. And so I think this is a grand experiment. I was calling it on LinkedIn, maybe about last October. This is going to be like a trust fall, right? It's like the idea that we're going to introduce a whole new concept in the market, and that's even the north, south, east, and west format. And once you start building it, people are like, oh, I don't know where I am, and it's like, okay, we're introducing a new way to do this, right? And this idea of, we were talking to some people today, they're like, I keep thinking of stuff I want to go put on my dossier, right? And like that's what we want, is people to be motivated to put their data in that separates and makes them really uniquely them. It's what makes you you. I don't know. Like that's, we gotta trademark that, I think, or something, right? Whereas the resume, I can't, if I look at my resume, I can't even tell it's me, right? Like it's all of a sudden it's a pile of keywords and performance statements. Like if somebody said, "Can you just restate to me what's on your resume?" and my resume is over there at the hiring manager's desk, I'd be like, "Oh shit, I have no idea what's on my resume anymore." It's like, it's been written by 2 resume writers and 3 AI systems have gone through it, and it's unrecognizable to a human right now, right? So.
I
Hmm.
know Jeff mentioned earlier that we talk a lot about keeping it current, right? So you can see here that he has his kind of main description of CEO of Boomband, and then he's adding associated stories about really cool things that he's working on as part of that Boomband experience. And so we're really hoping that people keep enriching, even if it's that, for that main work experience where they're currently working, that they keep adding those stories about what they're working on now, associating that with the skills that they're using. So this thing's living, easy to update, etc. It's like it's pretty critical to what we believe is really important so that you don't age, right? Your resume doesn't age, you're not frantic to update it. You're kind of like always working on it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are there any analytics or insights available for users on the company end and the candidate end about how they're discovered or rate of engagement?
So there will be. Um, yeah, we're not live yet, right? So we are working on all of the engagement stats. And ideally, we gamify this thing a little bit, right? To keep you
Oh,
encouraged so that as you're working through, you get points, you get credits for what you're contributing, and you understand how it's being looked at, engaged with, et cetera, on both sides, right? For the mirror, both for
What
players and for companies.
what's cool is we know the top 5 companies where the people came from that you've hired in your organization over the last year. We also know the top 5 companies that people left you to go to. And we have a skill print for every one of your employees. So when you start talking about mobility internally, if we start to get into a pattern where we're really working with a company, uh, then we'll have an opportunity to start to focus on the skill graph inside a company, which I think will be exciting. The other thing, we've already had one of our companies say, if we give you our applicant pool, will you update all the contact information? And could we actually source our applicant pool in your arena? So now imagine an opportunity, let's say, where you're saying, okay, who are my top 3 employees for this job? Who are the top 3 people that are in my applicant pool? And who are the top 3 people that are in the Boomband database? And so all of a sudden you have this like triple threat here where you could actually hire your employees for this job, or you could go into your own applicant pool that's just cold. It's cold pizza, right? It's funny. I got to bring Chip into this conversation because I said this analogy to Chip, and Chip said, well, I'd eat a pizza on the second day, and I and so, but most people don't go into the applicant pool. They kind of think it's like that's been there, done that. I want to get hot applicants that are just coming into the marketplace. But then the problem is, you post a job, it's remote and it's for a marketing position, and you've got 800 responses in the first, kind of, let's say 36 hours, and you're completely overwhelmed. And you start going through those first resumes, and they're all camels. And you're like, how many more camel resumes can I look at here? I'm looking for a giraffe. And then you end up going to an agency, or you get paralyzed. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And one of the things that we talked about is this is really bad for the branding of the company too, because all of those people that applied are all anxiously waiting to find out if they got a job, so
And
uh
ATSs don't make it easy for you to go back and search through those pipelines to marry them all into one place and have that expert who can go in and search them and cultivate them. I mean, that's a game changer too.
yeah.
right.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anyone who's kind of listened to this that has questions, but love to answer questions. And also, we'd be happy to have one-on-ones with anyone who's interested in learning more.
Yes, and what we'll do, Jeff and team, after this webinar is anyone that registered, maybe they weren't able to attend today, we'll send a recording of this, and then we'll send them your LinkedIn and any contact information you'd like to share so they can always reach out and maybe talk to you more about Boomband or schedule their own demo.
Great.
Perfect.
Sure.
Great. Well, I think maybe that's a good place. We're very appreciative of the partnership that's forming here, and excited to see how we can work together. And I just want to make sure I do a shout out into the Boston community, because we're coming, and we're going to be knocking on doors, and we're going to be working, building relationships with players in Boston. And this is sort of our proving ground to get a product off the ground. So I'd love to hear from you, especially anywhere. But if you're in Boston, that's our target place for the next 3 months. So
Very exciting. Looking forward to see the impact that Boomband makes in 2026, Jeff.
awesome.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for having us.
Thanks, team. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.